You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Good morning. My name is Mary Klein. I'm one of the licensed practitioners here at Centers for Spiritual Living St. George. And it is my honor to facilitate this meditation today. So today's topic is what's in your spice rack. Here at Centers for Spiritual Living, we suggest different spiritual practices, different spices, to assist in developing our inner life, a life of committed and consistent practices to be used. Some of these spiritual practices are spiritual study, meditation, affirmations, spiritual mind treatment or prayer, mindfulness, visioning, sacred service, giving and receiving, gratitude, and forgiveness. Here at CSL St. George, we do a sitting meditation before each service each week. So let us begin. So sit quietly and close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. I ask you to have open arms, open hearts, open spirit, and open mind during this meditation. I want you peaceful and grounded and stress-free. Breathe in through your nose deeply. Breathe out through your nose or mouth, whatever's most comfortable, and fall into this rhythm. Breathe in deeply, pause, and breathe out. Picture in your mind's eye an empty space, a dark space, a place with no limitations. Human brains act on imagery, so I want you to imagine a place in your mind's eye where no light exists, no dimensions exist, no movement exists, no sound exists. It's an empty, hollow space. Just a voided, expansive opportunity for you to gather your calmness, gather your focus, and gather your intentions of living a peaceful and joyful life. Now open your mind's eye. Now gently bring light into this space. Imagine pure, vibrant light gently coming into focus, gently coming in from a pinpoint. Now allow a vast expansion of pure light, all-encompassing light, And now you're sitting in the center of this light, floating in this space of light. The coloration of this light matches your own desire for light coloration that you choose to be floating in. There is no wrong or right color. Choose a color that's pleasing to you. I suggest to you a coloration that is an appropriate color for you. The color is light, it's gentle and soft, and airy and transparent. Now intensify this coloration. Bring the color to such a vibrant, illuminated state that you are actively beginning to feel a temperature coming off of this color. All-encompassing warmth or cool temperature, direct reflection and coincide to the depth of the color of the light that is holding you in a gentle embrace. This light is calming all the tensions of your body peacefully. Passive imaging thoughts holding the light space around you. I ask you now gently, with your mind's eye, to elevate yourself gently again. Begin moving through this light. This light has encompassed all of the space now, never-ending space around you, and you are now very slowly moving through it. I encourage you to find your own pace. As you move through this light space, gently feel a healing pattern, a washing over your body, moving in opposition to the irregular pattern of your movement, as if a wave is now encountering your body. With each undulation of the light movement, it is sending healing frequencies, healing temperature, and healing movement onto your physical body. Spend a moment in this imaginative light, feeling the temperature of the light, seeing the vibration of the light, feeling the momentum of your movement through this light, and the frequency washing over your physical body. Knowing the feeling of peace, love, fearlessness, joy, and happiness as we sit now here in silence for a bit. Continue on your journey through this light silently. Continue your slow, deep breathing. Bring your mind back to your journey, floating through this embracing light. Bring your mind back to your journey, healing journey, feeling the waves of light pass over you, feeling the warmth or the coolness, whatever it is in your mind's eye. Continue the deep breath in your rhythm. So, this journey helps you with the feelings of rejuvenation, feeling renewed. This imagery will follow you throughout your day. Peacefully resting in your energy. I want you to be able to go to this imagery anytime you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, anytime you're feeling the need to block out any distractions that keeps you from your heart space energy and your knowing of your divinity. So as you continue breathing, slow your movement down, bringing your frequency into an even pattern that gently matches and marries your own. No longer feeling anything separate from yourself, quietly residing back in stillness with the light around you. This bright, vibrant light is now coming down and back into the light in a more transparent state as it transcends itself back to its original, to its origin. And that you are now viewing back into the vastness and darkness of this space. So the light has backed off and we're now back into the darkness. Breathing in and out, finding your perfect pattern of movement. Source blesses your every intention. Source holds you gently in its energy space, cradling your spirit and your soul as it gently guided into the highest frequency and highest possibility of yourself. May you find peace in your journey. May you find possibility in all of your thoughts. Source honors your space. Source sends you love and light, and it will be. Namaste. Namaste.
You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, wholly welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, wholly welcome, wholly welcome.
Good morning. It's such a beautiful day here in St. George. I hope that you too are experiencing a beautiful day, whether you're here in location with us or whether you are coming to us from somewhere else. We're so happy to have you with us today. We seem to have had a record number listening to Mary's meditation this morning. It was great. So, my name is Marina Anderson, and I'm your host for today. Um, Star Starrett is one of our practitioners, and she is behind the scenes being our tech and making all things come together. Mary Klein, another of our practitioners, just did the meditation, and she will also be doing the invocation for us in the middle of the first song. So hold on to your seats for that. It will be glorious. The music will be provided by Alan Stanley, one of our regulars. You will enjoy his music for sure. And Gwen Hadley is a member of the Core Council, and she will be doing our reading today, which is the continuation of our Sacred Covenant. And last but not least is Reverend Joe Kovach, who is providing our message today. And Joe, as you know, if you are a regular, is our minister candidate. And we'll talk more about that in a bit. So I would love to invite Alan Stanley up to begin some music for us. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning, Marina. Hello, everybody. We'll do a little Michael Gott song for you this morning. It's one of my favorites. It's like the air around me, like the sunlight on my face. I feel the love of God surround me. I'm touched by amazing grace. All I've ever wanted, all I've ever needed is already there. Nearer than the air I breathe in, and I'm touched with the Spirit, and it is peace to my body, it is joy to my mind, it is joy to my soul. I breathe out a simple prayer of thank you, and my breath becomes a song that was singing all along. It is singing everywhere, closer than the sunlight, nearer than the air. I'd like to invite Mary back to offer our invocation this morning.
I know that right where I am, the great and loving source of the universe is. That source fills all space and time with its fullness and allness. Everywhere there is anything, this source has already supplied all that is necessary for a happy and exciting, grateful life. God is the good, runs through everything. God leaves nothing off. I am one with this fullness and completeness. Everything that I am is the activity of God, demonstrating my perfect experience of life. I am one with the action of love and gratitude that is in and through all things. My unity with love and gratitude empowers me. I am one with Source, having my being in and through life. There is one great expression of life, and that is my life now. I know this for me, and I know this for everyone here present at this virtual event. We're here to be fully open to the wisdom and clarity of the day from loving Source, from Reverend Joe, and from each other. We are open, receptive, and available. We are also here to embrace and savor the loving friendships between all of us. We give thanks for this community. I am grateful for the inexhaustible gratitude within me. I surrender into this gratitude for today's message, for today's music by Alan, and all realizations and awareness that will reveal themselves today to all of us. Thank you, God.
Thank you, God. Thank you, Mary. We're going to put the lyrics up here. Please sing along if you feel like it. I breathe in, and I am filled with the Spirit. It is health to my body. It is peace to my mind. It is joy. It is joy. Joy to my soul. And I breathe out a simple prayer of thank you. And my breath becomes a song that was singing all along. It is singing everywhere. It is nearer than the air. And I breathe in, and I am filled with the Spirit. It is health to my body. It is peace to my mind. It is joy. It is joy. It is joy. Joy to my soul. I breathe out a simple prayer of thank you. And my breath becomes a song that was singing all along. It was singing everywhere. It was nearer than the air, closer than the sunlight, nearer than the air. Now I would like to invite Gwen in to read our sacred covenant. Hello, Gwen.
Good morning, Alan. Good morning, everyone. As we've stated all along, that this prayer, this sacred covenant is so powerful. And so look what it's done. We have a candidate. So I am so happy to keep reading this until the call is put out and it is all done. So there is only one life. This life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life, I know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which include the presence of a new minister for my beloved community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express God. I therefore know that my new minister reveals wholeness. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which we believe, for it is written by Ernest Holmes, let us learn to draw the divine substance down into our own lives, and as freely as it has been given to us, let us give it to others. Thus alone shall we be made whole. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as growing the center in joy and prosperity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing the truth about myself. For I live the presence and law of God. I demonstrate wisdom through a mature understanding of the wholeness of life. I am accountable and willing to take full responsibility for my actions. I participate in and support the nurturance and guidance of the community. I act from wholeness and congruence in thought, word, and action. I walk the talk. Now, please express your personal truth here. I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, knowing that they are revealed in a way that expresses God and serves the highest and greatest good for all who are touched by their presence. I am so grateful, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Gwen. Well, as you've heard, we're proceeding with our minister search, and we have a candidate. And so the mystery is still open here. So I thought it's time we bring this song back out. Please sing along if you'd like. There's a path that we know many people take, seeking truth and some things unexplained. Setting out on a road that is mostly unknown, sometimes can cause trouble and strain. We set out instead, not knowing what's ahead, and wondering what lies around the bend. In truth, we know that wherever we go, life's eternal and this road has no end. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our name. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Now we come together and move along, creating heaven right here at home. We honor the old ways and bless the new. Open our hearts and welcome you. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our name. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Deep inside we all know if we only let go and let God lead, there's nothing to fear. The slower we go, the sooner we'll know, and everything will become clear. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our name. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our name. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Amen.
All right. I was singing those choruses with you, Ellen. Could you hear me
I could
over
hear
there?
you. I could hear you.
All right. All right. Yes, that is definitely what we're about these days is embracing the change for sure. Um, oh my gosh, so much change ahead. As you know, our theme for the year is living everyday wonder, and our focus in May is on emotions. So it should be an interesting month. Today's talk theme is what's on your spice rack? Ooh, ooh, ooh. How spicy is your life? Pretty spicy around here, I think, these days. So, as you've been hearing and as you've been reading, we have a ministerial candidate, and this was our candidating weekend. So, Reverend Joe was here in town yesterday. If you missed it, you missed a good day. He met with the practitioners and the leadership yesterday morning, and we had some really riveting conversations and lots of questions answered. And then in the afternoon, Reverend Joe provided a workshop for us called Raise Up. And of course, every one of those letters stood for something. And it was great tools and perspectives about how to embrace the change in our life and to embrace our own powers in our life. And at the end of the day, the members in attendance voted pretty unanimously to support Reverend Joe as a candidate for our senior minister position. So the next step is for Core Council and Reverend Joe to enter into conversation about what that might look like. So the very specifics about the relationship we would have between our community and Reverend Joe. So I'd love to invite Reverend Joe up right now to talk about what he thinks might be on our spice rack. How are you today, Reverend Joe?
I'm feeling wonderful, and it was such a good time yesterday. It was a full day. I don't think the drive home to North Las Vegas was ever shorter. I think I was up in my head most of it. So, and blessed be no traffic. So that's always a blessing too.
Yay.
Yeah, it was a wonderful time. It really was. And I just want to give a shout out to all the community members that did come out and support your community. Thank you for doing that, especially in the middle of a beautiful day on Saturday. You could have been doing a lot of other things. So it was good to meet and greet with you then.
Yes, it was. All right. Well, sit back and hold on to your seats, folks.
Thank you, Marina. Appreciate you. Good morning. And oh my goodness, it's May 1st already. Time is just flying by. And today I get the joy of talking about emotions. And as a day job, I have been a school counselor for 20 something years. So I work with emotions every day. And mostly, I'm going to say, helping students understand their emotions. And in saying that, I recognize, preparing for this talk, that there's so many people that, including myself sometimes, that until we stop and take a real good look inside, we don't know what's on our spice rack. We don't know what emotions we're really doing, or if we do, why do we keep going back to certain emotions and the power of emotions. So this beginning of this week, we're just going to kind of dive in a little bit and just generally take a look at, emotions and really importance of finding balance with our emotions in our life. That's going to be kind of the main idea to grasp them, because as we know, there are entire programs for months and weeks of learning about ourselves and so forth. So just be open to anything that's presented today, and just let it percolate, because emotions are obviously personal, right? And they're attached to memories, they're attached to thoughts. And this idea that it has to be ugly and painful is just a belief sometimes that we hold that we're willing to release right here and right now. So we're going to dive into this emotions. We're going to kind of find hopefully a greater understanding of just, again, how critical they are in our lives for our growth, for our development, our well-being. And again, I brought up not just, I work with middle school age children, everybody especially right now, as we look in the world, if we're not centered, if we're not balanced, then we could simply be allowing our emotions to run our lives. Click on the TV, look at the news on the internet. There's a lot of things that we can choose to find negative emotions, depending on our consciousness, or we could also find a lot to celebrate in our lives. And that's important too. Understanding our emotions to me is a spiritual practice. Then there are other spiritual practices like meditation that complement that. As we explore emotions and feelings, there's something that we will eventually get to called the mental equivalent in science of mind. And simply, it's a kind of a big word that basically says, what are we holding in our minds, right? What is the mental, my imaginary picture of something, because I'm imbuing the emotions onto that. And so the more we become aware of that, it helps us get a different perspective. Quite often when things are difficult, we're experiencing some trauma, some pain, it's very easy to either just shut down our emotions, which is not bad, but at the same time, if we feel like we're stuck and we just stay there, that could be detrimental to us. Or we kind of do what's called a spiritual bypass and just go, oh, I'm a spiritual person and I always see the good in everything. And this is just going to work out fine, which if you're coming from a centered, balanced perspective is wonderful because you're actually in alignment with that belief and with the words you're saying. But sometimes we're not. And we just say it to kind of, oh, it's going to be great and push it aside because we're not willing to take a look at our emotions. Because again, they can be scary. We may realize and discover a false truth that we've been holding on to for a long time, a belief that all of a sudden we feel like is at the core of our center of who we are. And we kind of start recognizing that, maybe that's not good for me. Now, how does that make me feel? Ooh, well, when it almost feels like you're ripping an internal part of you out. And so again, gaining balance and understanding our emotions is absolutely, I'm trying to think of the best, I would say important, but to me, it's a daily focus. That's how important it is to me. I check my emotions daily. And again, just looking into it, how well balanced they are. Ernest Holmes says this, and I'm going to turn on my little laser here. He says, in the well-balanced person, emotion is controlled by the intellect, but in many people, there is conflict between the emotion and the intellect. Emotion uncontrolled produces chaos. So what Ernest Holmes is saying in this quote is that, when we're well balanced, we're balanced between our head and our heart. So we have our thoughts, we recognize how we're feeling, we recognize our best and highest good. We're recognizing that spirit truly is everything, including in this circumstance in front of me, in this person that's in front of me. And as I do my inner work, then I release the inner conflict, and that tends to solve what's going on the outside of me. And he's also saying, though, in many people, is we just let our minds run things and we think logically. Now, while thinking logically works in certain places, thinking only logically when we're trying to work with emotions is not a balanced perspective. And that's generally when we have chaos, because we get caught up in our thoughts of it should be this way, it shouldn't be this way. Why did that person do this? And we start trying to control things that we can't. So Ernest Holmes comes from this place again of recognizing and starting with, who are we, right? We are the divine. And so as I know that we are the divine, and I know that all things are the divine in expression, if I'm in a place of balance. Now I can, and this doesn't mean we don't get upset, but it means as I get upset, I balance out. I'm able to calm myself down, look at it between a balance again of the head and the heart. And what is emotion anyway? I was taught a long time ago in counseling, the word emotion is kind of two words into one. And the E, as you see in yellow here, stands for energy. And then it's energy in motion. So think of this idea in the sense that the energy that I'm putting in motion into my thoughts, the energy I put into my thoughts turn into my behavior. So this is always in alignment, right? So I'm never going to act out in anger if I'm thinking happy thoughts. It's never going to happen. If I'm thinking in anger, the energy that I'm putting into that is going to then equal the results in my behavior. So let's take a couple of different looks, the way we look at emotion, a couple side views here. One of the big things we tend to do, because we feel this energy and we don't know how to control it with our intellect, we run. And most of us are often taught with regards to emotions that to shut it down. How many times have we, a child is crying, is upset, and oh, be quiet, and we minimize their emotions as if it's not important enough. I know for men, crying is not allowed. It's not manly. We're supposed to be this big bravado always, and we're not allowed to dive into our emotions. Or even if we are, maybe, we're not allowed to feel those, for men, more feminine emotions too long. Or on the flip side, if you're a female and you have this more masculine emotion, you're not allowed to feel that too long, because then they start questioning you. And so we shut it down. We hide within. And we're basically trained by society that there's good emotions and there's bad emotions. And when we get caught up in that, we are kind of on this teeter-totter of trying to stay balanced, because whoa, this one's bad, so now I'm judging myself. I'm feeling I'm judging myself. And at the same time, I'm not honoring. So I'm feeling that more of not honoring my true emotions, but I'm honoring somebody else's emotion, somebody else's judgment. And that doesn't feel good. And that just tends to keep us stuck even more. It causes us to beat ourselves up. And I mentioned this in the workshop yesterday. I feel right at the top of the list of things that we need to work on is to stop making ourselves wrong. Stop berating ourselves when we're just doing the best we can, no matter how it turns out. That's the power of awareness. When we're balanced, we get to a place of balance, we can then recognize things more clearly and make appropriate changes. Think of energy too in motion. All energy I know comes in waves. If it's a flat line of energy, you're usually dead. So, and someone once said, well, what about a laser? It's a straight line, but it's really not. When you look at it, it appears to us as a straight beam, but it's waves. And in those waves are kind of peaks and valleys. And so if that's how all of nature works, why are we trying to go against nature and be something that we're not? So yes, there's going to be down days in a sense. That's not bad, because there's gifts in every emotion. And if we're making ourselves wrong and therefore not looking at our emotions, what's on our spice rack, we're just pushing it all away. And we're just going to live off, 3 spices that we're comfortable with. And we can do that. Okay. But that's not a very tasty or delicious life that we're living, is it? It's pretty repetitive, pretty bland. And so, again, when we berate ourselves, when we put ourselves down, we're really blocking the ability to learn from life the way life is showing up. A quote I wanted to share with you too, just simply with regards to emotions, good or bad. It was on a blog, and it says, emotions by themselves are neither good nor bad. They are simply reactions. They call them reactions. However, the way we act or don't act on our emotions can strongly affect our well-being. To me, I added it because it really reminds me of what I work with every day, which is trying to get students to take responsibility for what, where they are, and then let them know it's okay to be where you are. It's okay to be feeling, I've experienced everything from suicide all the way up to, kids just ecstatic because they flipped their grades around, where they were struggling and they weren't doing the work, and now they got grades that they didn't think they could earn. That's a huge variance of emotions in there. And sometimes the best thing to do when we're feeling certain emotions, I grab certain spices, is to not act, is to sit there with it for a little while and go within and be okay with how you're feeling, because that's when the blessings show up. as again, we take more responsibility, and we're willing to maybe take a few more spices off the spice rack. And in other words, we're also willing to face what's happening. I've heard from a number of more of the adult ages that I work with that, they're afraid of opening that Pandora's box. And that comes from a place, again, of holding this past power outside of ourselves. And in science of mind, we know that we are the center of that power. That center is everywhere, technically, because there is no spot where God is not, right? So that's the purpose of focus, of meditation, and of prayer. Those practices get us centered so that we come to a place of not being in fear. And again, that's okay if we're in fear. Sometimes we may need to simply just go outside of ourselves and ask for help. That's all right too, right? If I'm trying to make this perfect cake and I've never done it before, I may watch a video or two. I may ask someone that's already had that experience of, how are you doing it? What was your thing? And then tweak it to the best of my ability. So this is what we're talking about here, is healing. When we begin to look at our emotions, we open the opportunity to heal from within. Do the healing work, uncover and identify those hurts and those pains that are there. And it's when you're courageous enough to take that step, it's a very freeing experience, because it's something that's been weighing on you, on me for a long time. We've wanted to do something about it. We've made ourselves wrong for not doing anything about it. It's like, I know I got my hands on 2 awesome spices, and I just know they're going to be awesome, but I'm too afraid to try it because maybe what somebody else might say, or I'm going against family beliefs, or it would require me to look at other things a little more deeply. And as we go within and we recognize the power truly of the emotions, that affects the way then we show up. And so we go within and we look at this energy, and what am I baking inside here? What am I putting into it? Okay, this is what I have. Now, how is this the perfect pie or the perfect cake that I like? If not, what can I do about it? And Gary Zukov, there's a quote, he says, emotions reflect intentions. So the power that we're giving, the thoughts that we have. Therefore, awareness of emotion leads to awareness of intention. So it's a two-way street there. As I'm willing to open up and recognize the power of emotions, again, energy in motion, then I can recognize the energy that I'm giving to a particular thought. So again, this takes courage. Digging inside, digging and looking at our deepest emotions. And even if it's not the deepest, it might just be one that's been annoying me. But let's say it's attached to a family member. It's attached to a significant other. It's attached to a loss. Maybe it's a grieving situation and we just can't seem to get over it. These are all real life emotions that we deal with every day. And gaining a centering aspect to that, becoming in balance, in harmony, and eventually in wholeness with all of life is really the goal. Again, and it's just going back to it starts with recognizing there are no good or bad emotions. Everything can lead to something greater. Everything. There's wars going on between Russia and Ukraine, and yet because of that, and I'm not calling it just grandiose good, but there are things coming out of that creatively that are helping the planet. So is it good? Is it bad? What's going on in our lives if we're just sitting there judging it? If I'm, can I find the good? There's that great movie, it's a children's movie called Inside Out that deals with emotions. And in that movie, they try to kick sadness out through the whole movie until the end. And spoiler alert, I guess. I'll just say things work out for the best, so I don't spoil it for everybody. But it's a great movie, even as adults, to watch. There's a lot of funny parts. And so it's taking and really being strong enough to take a look at your spice rack and look at everything on the spice rack and identify it and go deeper of when would this particular spice be great. paprika might be good in certain dishes, but probably not in mixing a dessert. I hope that's right, but I'm just throwing that out there. And so also, when we recognize our spiritual emotions in positive ways, we can also then recognize, and positive meaning they're helpful to us in the life that we want to live. We can also pay more attention to how often those are showing up. And on the flip side, when it's a negative emotion, we can pay attention to how often it's showing up and how and why. And then use our spiritual practices. Once again, meditation is great. And I'm not just talking about, many people in the beginning, I could not just sit there and be quiet. I couldn't handle that for a while. So I did walking meditations, which is fine. I did guided meditations because it helped to just calm my mind to hear things. Whatever works for you is good for you. Maybe it's just repeating a mantra or an affirmation or a song lyric that lifts you up all day long to begin to shift and stay in a more balanced place. These things are simple. It doesn't have to be difficult. It's kind of like the way I look at it is as you're baking, you're singing. As you're baking, for many people, it's a meditative thing. They're just so gloriously focused on what they're doing. That's when spirit's flowing. That's when it's just a healing experience. The other thing is looking and truly not looking, but listening. That's the key word, is listening to ourselves. The answers are often within. Well, they're always within, but are we willing to hear it, right? Like when we really take time to do some deep intuitive listening, it's like opening up the playbook and just allowing spirit to say, this is what's perfect for us right now. This is where you're at. And we can feel that through our inner self. And we all have this inner guide within us that if we commune with, will assist us in knowing what to do, knowing what to say, knowing what's best for ourselves. It's important that we simply just take time and apply what we know. And sometimes when we're stuck, if we feel stuck in certain emotions, the best thing to do is to not bypassing, we're just temporarily putting it aside and then doing something that brings our spirit up, that raises us up, right? So for me, sometimes it would be listening to some music that gets me away from, and not music that's going to match where I was feeling. So let's say I'm feeling anger. I don't want to go listen to certain anger music not too long anyway, because again, at first I'm like, yes, this is how I feel. And then I'm like, how do I want to feel? All right, I'm done over feeling this. How do I want to feel? And then listen to some, I love James Brown, I Feel Good. It's one of my favorite songs to just lift me out of a stagnant place. But it's really the gift of taking time and being present. Again, taking a look to see what spices haven't I used lately? And what have I maybe overused? And how is that showing up in my presentation here of food, of life? How is that showing up? And if by doing this on ourselves, this inside journey uncovers things that we're truly uncomfortable dealing with alone, then it's important to simply just ask for help from a professional. That's okay, whether it's a practitioner, that's always helpful. Or maybe you need some additional support with a therapist or a counselor. That's not right or wrong. It's getting ourselves back to that place of balance between the head and the heart, right? So that we can truly live and be open to recognizing spirit all around us, heaven on earth. The next, excuse me, quote I want to share is just from Encyclopedia of Philosophy. And it says, no aspect of our mental life is more important to the quality and the meaning of our existence than the emotions. They are what makes life worth living. So it's not like I'm living, and then I feel emotion and I recognize it. It's really about being tapped in and tuned in at all times about how we're feeling and the energy we're putting into something. There's times when I realize that I'm kind of in a blah mood, and I don't even know why. And then I realize I've allowed myself, without understanding why, to be in a blah mood for most of the day. And then I stop and I go, Joe, is this how you want the rest of the day to go? Because I can do that. I've tried to think about, I don't really, the idea, what's bothering me, and I just put it on pause. I say to it, you can come up anytime you're ready. Otherwise, I'm working on feeling better, right? And then I just begin to shift and allow myself to do that shift. Sometimes it'll come back, or a thought that maybe that's stuck or needs awareness will come out, and I'll go, okay, that's why. And sometimes I never seem to consciously recognize it, and that's okay too. So creating balance and harmony in our emotions, again, we're going back to that. And it's usually, we're experiencing not just one emotion at a time, but often a variety of emotions all at the same time. And there's a lot to deal with sometimes on the spice rack, and it can get confusing. And again, going back to this idea of wholeness and balance and oneness, it kind of helps us just deal with the spectrum of what's in front of us. When emotions are skewed to either like extremes that maybe causes discord or an imbalance in our life, there's those times. And then there's times when even too much happiness, too much bliss, like again, teeter-totter, and it sounds odd to say, oh, we're too happy all the time. But at the time, if I'm up here all the time, in a sense, what's the saying? I don't have my feet on the ground. I'm kind of floating too high, and I'm not grounded in the sense of what's going on in reality in front of me. So too much sadness can lead to depression and even suicidal thoughts of hurting ourselves. Too much fear, we close up. We kind of causes us to feel a deep sense of insecurity, unworthiness, or doubt. This is why it's important to, again, constantly work through our emotions, work with our emotions, that it's not me and my emotions, right? It's us. Like, I'm feeling this, okay, or my body's feeling this. What thoughts and energy am I putting into these two things together? Because emotion, an energy and emotion thing is attached to a thought or a belief. And so what's going on here that I'm feeling this way? Oh, I was just thinking that I can't stop thinking about this argument that I had at work. And I realize now that that's causing an unsettling within me, a sense of disharmony within me. That's something I need to go into prayer about and work out. And then bring closure to in my life. Go talk to that person, let them know what happened, how I felt, and maybe some changes that I want. Eric Butterworth, the great spiritual author, says this. He says, nothing else can satisfy or fulfill unless you enjoy that freedom that comes from control of your inner world of mind and emotions. So this is what we're talking about, is giving ourselves the time to do that. So important. And recognize, as I said early on, the freedom, right? We have this spice rack. Give ourselves the control to use what we want. We can make our own delicious life, a life that we love living, right? A world that works for everybody. And so, and at the same time, we can make a heaven on earth, or we can make it a living hell. That's us, up to us. But the main thing, again, is those daily spiritual practices, waking up and maybe doing a short meditation. Waking up, what I do, the first thing I do when I wake up is I read the Science of Mind magazine. That helps me center. It's like for me, a 3-4 minute read. Then I take the affirmation. Then I go into a call with my prayer partner. And then I feel centered and ready to go to work. All of that takes total like I also meditate in between. So Science of Mind magazine, 15 minutes of meditation, call. It's about a half hour, 35 minutes. And it sets my day up every day. And if I miss one of those things, I feel off. A lot of times on the weekends, I get up, and because it's a different schedule, I forget about it. And I feel off because I'm like, oh, I didn't read the magazine today. So simple things that have profound results in our lives. It's all about getting control of the emotions. And so the last thing I want to share with you from their book, Asking It Is Given, they has this list of emotions. I couldn't get it, I wanted to get it in linearly, but it's, and they list these things. And I wanted to present this to you, and it's being recorded, so you can stop and look at it again. Just the idea of where are you at on this list. Number 1 is the highest that we can feel. 22 is the lowest. And the idea simply is that emotions are simply indications and guideposts of whether we are allowing or resisting the life that we say that we want. It comes down sometimes to a really simplistic view, right? But that's a profound view. So if I'm feeling anger, which is 17, okay, so obviously that's below midway. And so I want to be feeling, the idea of feeling joy from anger is a long jump. And sometimes we try to jump too far in our emotions and we feel that. We're like, oh, I can't be there. That's okay. So their strategy is reach for the next best feeling emotion. And this is, again, so simple, but it works all the time. So instead of working for joy when you're in anger, can you reach for discomfort? Or sorry, discouragement? Can you reach for blame? And the idea of sometimes of blaming feels good, even though it's not where we want to be. But at first, I'm getting this emotions, this energy moving. And then I go to doubt and I move up and maybe I take a jump and I go, well, you know what? I was really mad at this person, but I can begin then to open up and kind of see their point of view. Whoa, that's a big jump. And you just keep, what's the next best feeling thought? Again, if I try to jump to joy too fast, I'm going to feel like, no way, I can't do that right now. Or to forgiveness, I can't do that right now. Okay, what's the next best feeling you can feel? And that's one of the best practices that I could share with you. It's one I do constantly. It's one I teach to my students. You know, I'm frustrated at X. Okay, how do you want to feel? Well, I want to feel this. Okay, how can we get there? And there's other strategies that we can do, but I know I'm out of time. So just going back, ladies and gentlemen, to recognizing that life is here for us. It is literally a banquet. We're the chef in our own life. What are we making? What is it that we're making? What spices are we using? Because there's an infinite amount of spices on our spice racks. And what do we want to do? And are we giving ourselves permission to try something new? Something new. That feels good to try something new. Who cares how it ends up? You know, we can always make changes. So I do have an affirmation that I want to leave with us, aligned with this whole idea of emotions. And it's, I am blessed and grateful for my emotions and feelings. I am co-creating a wondrous life. So I'm going to ask, just take a pause, and I'm going to give us a countdown of 3. I want us to say it together. I don't care if you're at home or watching this a week later. The idea is putting the energy, the emotion behind the words. So say it excitedly. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I am blessed and grateful for my emotions and feelings. I am co-creating a wondrous life. Thank you. I appreciate it. And just a quick prayer. I want to close with a prayer, of course. And what I'm knowing to be true in this moment, that life is balance, that life is harmonious, that life is whole, perfect, and complete, right here, right now. And as I know this for myself, I therefore know this for everyone who can hear this and who can't hear this, because it is life expressing itself everywhere perfectly. I'm knowing that life is unfolding for each for their best and their highest good. I know that wherever we are right now, that we're comfortable looking at ourselves enough to say, this is how I feel. And if it's good for me, then I'm good with it. And if I'm not feeling it's good for me in the moment, then I'm willing to work with myself or get the help that I need to move through this to a better place for me. I'm truly knowing that the Centers for Spiritual Living St. George community is feeling the love of their community, the flow of their community, the joy. These are all wondrous emotions that they know they can lean on the practitioners in time of need to receive prayer, to help recenter themselves, rebalance themselves, and continue to live the life that they love fully. I'm blessed knowing that the center itself is growing and evolving in its perfect and highest way. I bless the leadership there, the practitioners, the committees, the volunteers, and every member with the most profound feeling of joy that there is. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you for that. I love relating emotions to food and spices. That it's just so we can feel it, right? And we've all tried a new recipe and it doesn't work because there's too much of this or not enough of that. And
Right.
what do I need to try differently next time? I just really think that's so relatable. And I
As
had
we
to
give
laugh.
ourselves more and more permission, it just, we get infinite amount of opportunities.
Yeah.
And too many of us make something that turns out bad, and then we go, I'm not a good chef, right? We beat ourselves up. No
Yeah.
more.
Let's try that again. I had to laugh when you talked about not putting paprika in ice cream. One of my favorite desserts is at a pizza parlor up at Cedar City, and it's vanilla gelato with balsamic reduction, olive oil, and sea salt. Sounds gross? So good. So good. Be brave. Go try
I'll
it.
have to take you up on that, Marina.
Okay. All right. Have
Thank
a
you.
great day. Thank you. And don't forget to come join us in Zoom. Reverend Joe will be there with us after service at noon, and which is in about 7 minutes. And we'll have a great conversation. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was fabulous. So I encourage you to support this community that is here for you. We're so grateful for your generosity of talent and time, and it does take dollars in order to keep it going and for us to expand as we move into having a minister again and eventually moving into having a location. Um, and money is not evil. Money is grand and glorious, and is how we will do God's work moving forward. So I encourage you to donate on PayPal or send us a check. We have a big event coming up in 2 weeks from yesterday. The practitioners are doing a labyrinth day at the Wind Chime Farm in central Utah. We're going to meet at 11:30 in the morning at the Social Security building on Sunset and Bluff, and caravan and carpool up there. It will be a glorious afternoon, so please join us for that. Lots going on. And as I mentioned before, we have Zoom coming up at noon. And during the Zoom, Mary, our practitioner, would be available for 1-minute prayers. We have the capability of going to little private rooms. So we can pop you into a little private room with Mary, and you can get a special prayer just for you this morning. So go to the website and get the Zoom link. Next week is one of our favorites, Stefan Seeley on May 8th. Top topic will be the fear factor. And on May 15th, another favorite, Steph Swink, who's a practitioner, will coming to talk about if you're happy and you know it. Ooh, I hear that in my voice and putting my foot in the circle there. So don't miss those. So we'll have more announcements shortly, but first, Star is going to bring up everybody's faces, and we're going to do the closing affirmation, and then I'll go into some final announcements. 2, 4, there we all are. Yay.
Okay, something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind, life is in my body, life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank you.
Thank you, life.
Woo! All right. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Join Zoom.
That's right. Zoom shortly. Go to the website and get the link, and we will do it. So now we'll move on to other announcements, the last of our announcements. And the first is, the book club. We're starting a new book on May 12th, Mutant Message Down Under. It's a fun book. It'll be great conversations. It's Thursdays at 6. Email Sue to get the Zoom link, and we hope that you will come join us for conversation starting May 12th. We just finished the previous one. So there are services available to you through us here at CSL St. George. The Care Circle can provide all kinds of support, and you can request a prayer anytime at prayer@cslstgeorge.org. You can also go to our website and click on one of the practitioners' pictures and send them a personal email. So that's another way to get a personal prayer. Please take advantage. They are ready and waiting to pray with you. And again, see us in a few minutes for a Zoom. In about 3 minutes, we're going to start that conversation, and Reverend Joe will be there to join us. We do that every week on Sunday after service, so please come join us. And last but not least, the home office, Centers for Spiritual Living, is still running humanitarian relief for the Ukraine. And there's basically 3 ways to do that. You can go to the csl.org website, which is the main website, or we have that information in our newsletter. And the new newsletter comes out tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. So check it out for all of your opportunities for helping others in our lovely world. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Sunday, and thanks for joining us. See you on Zoom in just a minute or so. Bye.